Welcome to Gotta Run with Will Presents. My name is Isang Smith, and I am your host for today's discussion. Our topic today covers acupuncture for athletes. We will explore its benefits, share our own experiences, and how we believe this medicine can fit into any athlete's routine for better performance, faster recovery, and improving your overall health. Acupuncture is now a go-to therapy for many athletes, and how we believe that is both for pro and recreational. It can be combined with other forms of sports medicine, including physical therapy, massage therapy, and chiropractic. The origins of this medicine can be traced back thousands of years ago, making it one of the oldest healthcare systems in the world. Treatments involve the insertion of fine, sterile acupuncture needles into specific areas, which are called acupuncture points. Endorsed by the World Health Organization, the U.S. military, and recently the FDA, it is safe to say that acupuncture is making its way into becoming a widely recognized and trusted form of medicine in Western healthcare. More and more clinical studies are coming out now showing that acupuncture provides pain relief and reduces inflammation for a wide range of conditions. This is good news for athletes, since, as we all know here, the training schedules athletes keep puts wear and tear on the body, which can often lead to soreness, pain, and sometimes injury. My guests for this episode can help provide informed and substantial input on this topic and share their own success stories by incorporating it into their athletic training schedules. We'll start off by introducing personal trainer Jackie Kook, who is currently a third-year student at Tri-State College of Acupuncture in pursuit of her Master's of Science degree. She started in fitness by teaching boot camp classes and Pilates. She completed her Strong First Level 2 kettlebell certification and is certified with the NSCA as a strength and conditioning specialist. She keeps active with lifting and internal martial arts. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Sang. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks. Our next guest is physical therapist Lee Scantalides. Lee received his doctorate of physical therapy from Touro College and was the recipient of the Research Achievement Award. He is also certified through the NSCA as a strength and conditioning specialist, personal trainer, and he also received his Strong First Kettlebell instructor certification. He has earned his 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo, ranking him as a master. He currently is training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, runs, and strength trains. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Okay. Our next guest is acupuncturist Haigney, founder and owner of Athlos Sports Acupuncture and an alumni of Tri-State College of Acupuncture. His focus is on pain and sports-related injuries and has received training from some of the best in the world of sports acupuncture, including acupuncturists Matt Callison and Chad Bong. He received his undergraduate degree from Boston College, where he walked onto the varsity soccer team and studied biology. Before studying acupuncture, he led phase 2 clinical trials for the development of HIV and hepatitis C antivirals at Quest Clinic Research in San Francisco. He keeps active right now by surfing. Welcome, Zach.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And I am your host, Isang Smith, founder of AcuTalks and On Point Sports Care. I'm an acupuncturist, licensed massage therapist, and running coach. I earned a BA in psychology at Columbia University, and I competed on their Division I track and field team. After college, I competed in duathlons, marathons, mountain biking, and the national championships in the Philippines in track and field. I'm currently training in Muay Thai, running, and strength training. Let's start off by sharing that there are some startling statistics about injuries among athletes. As an example, running injuries are extremely common, with some statistics estimating that as many as 90% of runners miss training time every year due to injury. Recovery time can take an emotional, physical, and financial toll on an athlete. So I'd like to explore with you all how acupuncture benefited you in your own training and perhaps while recovering from an injury. So Jackie, we'll start with you. Could you share your own experience?
Yes. So though right now I'm training lifting and internal martial arts, I did run at one time and did come across injuries at that time. And unfortunately, I didn't have acupuncture, but did really well with physical therapy. And now acupuncture is helping me with recovering really well. So it helps me sleep better. It helps me get back to lifting whenever I have to take a rest or stop, or if I get shoulder pain. I also had some hip injuries in the past, and I would say it just, as we've talked about, helped me get back to it faster. That's the short of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Lee, if you'd like to share?
Sure. I started getting acupuncture about 2 years ago, and I knew very little about it. The only thing that I knew about it was from what I would hear from my patients, and so their experiences would be varied. And I've found a great benefit from it, getting better sleep, better quality sleep, better digestive health. Definitely would come in every once in a while with some aches and pains from training, and it's helped immediately. And it's really regulated my energy systems. I really feel like I have more energy now, more consistently. So I've been very happy with getting it regularly.
And then Zach, would you like to share?
Yeah, so my personal experience really informs my clinical practice in that I see it in one of two ways. You have a recovery from an injury, a recovery from training, but you also have a mode of treatment that you can use before a competition, before training, before any sort of activity. And I really found that is really interesting, really impactful, especially in sort of more fine motor skill sports. But also with running and cardiovascular strength activities. So the two-pronged sort of approach of after training, after an injury, and gearing up for competition, gearing up for training, they're two very different treatment styles, different approaches, but they've done wonders for my clients, for my patients, for myself. Getting older, so gotta figure out ways to feel young. So that's certainly one of them.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing that. All this is great to hear. Moving on to my next question, we hear often from Western skeptics that the science of acupuncture, it isn't definitive and more is needed to prove its efficacy. But as we all know, the research on acupuncture is growing at a fast pace to explain the phenomena of how it works, and more explanations are already available from a Western perspective. Could you all share with us from a Western perspective what physiological changes may occur when an acupuncture needle is placed? Jackie, starting with you.
Okay. I think simply we can think of, I look at it local and systemic. So locally, research is finding that that the stimulation of the needles can affect neurotransmitters, it can affect hormones, proteins. So there are actual changes to biochemical markers. Then we can look at systemically that it's been found that acupuncture may trigger autonomic reflexes, which maybe in simpler terms you can think of the gastric system or the cardiovascular system being affected. So that's a few ways to look at it.
Nice. Lee?
Yeah, I would want to further that. From what I understand, there's a lot of endocrine changes or how organs function. It seems when an acupuncturist assesses a patient, they primarily focus on organ deficiencies and things like that. And so I feel like that has the biggest impact on that. So where as Jackie was saying, releases of hormones, changes in how that organ will be functioning to other things, and then how the nervous system interacts with that. So I from the limited knowledge that I have of it scientifically, that's what I would see or what I've read about and experienced myself.
The research world is incredibly interesting, growing, and the main factor or the main sort of area of research that I'm interested in is sort of how acupuncture stimulation alters the brain, and especially the motor sensory cortex. So that's the area that controls how our muscles move, how our muscles respond to where they are in space, how long they are. All of these kind of receptors are impacted through acupuncture, and they become more finely tuned. So the research that's done by Vitaly Napido at Harvard and Mass General using an MRI on carpal tunnel, and what they found is that the areas that represent the hand in patients who have had real acupuncture compared to sham or control, they actually improve how the brain perceives where the hand is in space, how dexterous it is, and that is the determination for if a treatment is effective or not, or how effective it is. So that, for an athlete, is that is gold. That is that's sort of the area that I think everybody who is interested in acupuncture needs to we need to follow that, because that's sort of where we can really make a mark, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. And these are all great explanations, and hopefully it gives people some more ideas for what type of research is going on surrounding acupuncture. So thanks for sharing that. As we all know, runners are readying for their training schedules for fall races, such as the New York City Marathon. I believe last year there were about 50,000, if not more, runners that took part. So I've definitely seen plenty of runners that have come into my own practice with overuse injuries that sidelines them right before the final weeks of training. It can be really frustrating for them, as you guys can imagine, and they have trained so hard only to find that they meet this challenge right now in the last minute. So I'm directing this question towards Jackie and Zach, including athletes that participate in things such as strength training or martial arts. What common problems or injuries can athletes experience from these activities? And how do you see acupuncture fitting into their training program to address these problems?
In the gym, there aren't as many injuries, but most of the people coming to the gym are really active, whether they're running or playing other sports. So similar overuse injuries, you might see shoulder pain, hip pain, low back pain, knee pain. What I love about acupuncture, or I'm always recommending, like my training clients or members that I work with, that it's helpful in the short term. I think short term and long term, right? So short term, there's pain relief. There can be increased range of motion. You can get very fast effects with acupuncture, and then which most athletes want. They want to get back to what they're doing right away. I want to lift. I want to run. I don't want to be sidelined too long.
Yeah.
And then there's also the long term, and I think this is kind of similar to what Zach was talking about preparing beforehand. And it's what I like to call recovery. It helps people sleep a little better. It helps people to de-stress a little, to calm down. What we might say, in other words, of regulating the parasympathetic and sympathetic tone in their life. And so I think in that way I've seen my clients, or I've seen members go from getting immediate help to then, I'm sleeping better, I can focus better, my digestion's better, and overall, and that's what we want, because when they can recover, then they can get another stimulus and they can adapt, they can change, and that's what athletes are always going through, that homeostasis, that push and pull of getting back to regulating, then pushing, regulating, pushing.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to explain the benefits, and to share my own personal experience and understanding now the benefits of taking a preventative approach versus kind of waiting until an injury might happen. My injury was that I hurt my left calf in college, and no one could figure out what was going on, and that's what led me to reach out and go out and find someone, and that's what introduced me to acupuncture. And looking back at that time, I was pushing through pain, I was pushing through college schedule, not sleeping as well, eating terribly, and everything kind of led up to that moment where I think it was actually very helpful to have that moment, to be in pain, to have an injury, because it finally made me realize, wait a second, maybe there's a better way. Even though I'm accomplishing everything on my schedule, maybe there's a better way to go ahead and spread out self-care, to go ahead and prioritize rest and recovery, and understand that I'm still going to go in the same direction. So yeah, definitely I now prioritize homeostasis, going back to balance is key. So yeah, Zach, pretty much going off of that, if you want to further.
The way that I think about it with my clients is you have this event, like a marathon, that you train for. Part of the issue that I see is that there should be a period of training for the training. So there's things like postural imbalances, movement dysfunctions that when they're loaded with months and months of training, maybe it's only at the end that there was an incident. So if we can clean up the postural imbalances, the movement imbalances, the weak points, I guess, in the chain, and this is what's great about working with physical therapists and chiropractors and strength trainers, is that we can all speak this language of postural disparities, et cetera. That's the kind of thing that if we can watch out for and educate our clients about, and know that there's value in acupuncture treatment for that purpose, that's when sort of I think prevention trumps care, right? So making sure that sort of aspect of people's training, which is often overlooked, is taken care of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great. Moving on to the next question I had for you guys. As we all know too, athletes benefit from combining in their healthcare routine therapies such as physical therapy. And so, Lee, could you explain what physical therapy is, how athletes can benefit from it, and why you choose to refer patients to acupuncturists as well?
Sure. I can speak mainly to the outpatient orthopedic field. It's simply the conservative approach to, conservative medical approach using interventions that specialize in manual therapy, prescribing therapeutic exercise, neuromuscular reeducation by a clinician who usually has a doctorate level education or a master's level education. And how it can help athletes, kind of what Zach was saying, it can assess for postural imbalances or anything that's going to contribute to an injury going forward, or possibly an injury that they've already had, and reduce that happening again or other injuries happening. And why we would refer to acupuncturists would be acupuncture can be a great addition to what we do, and usually with patients, just like Jackie was saying, is that there's elements of recovery that we can't necessarily immediately help them with. Let's say like their digestion, their ability to sleep properly, things like that. So I feel when I talk to patients, that's going to help them get the whole circle. You know, we can do the manual part, we could do the postural imbalances, the movement assessment, things like that. But with acupuncture, they can assess those issues with digestion and sleeplessness and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's very helpful. So one of the final questions I have, and obviously if anyone has anything else to add, definitely let me know. I wanted to ask this final question to everyone of what do you believe the future holds for the acupuncture profession? I just want to start off with Miss Jackie here.
As we kind of started off with our diverse experiences here, or our diverse backgrounds, I'm really excited for acupuncture to integrate more with other practitioners, other clinicians, with strength trainers, with physical therapists, as we were saying, with chiropractors, with medical doctors. And, you know, within acupuncture, the tools acupuncturists use are also very diverse. They don't just use needles, they use body work and other tools, but we can just benefit with the more touch points that a patient can have, right, with multiple clinicians on the same page. I look forward to that. I dream of seeing either myself or other acupuncturists kind of running into the field too. I've read about this in studies like in Asia, that it happens more with acupuncturists helping professional teams.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time for acupuncture, and it's gaining a lot more popularity, I think, because the media is picking up on it a little bit more. There's more research being done on it. I've been in practice for about 7 years as a physical therapist, and I have not seen as much attention from my patients towards it as I do now. So I think that's fascinating. And my own experience with acupuncture, I think, kind of yields its newness to what medicine can be, which is an all-encompassing assessment of the person. So when I first went to acupuncture, I had to fill out, it was like a 20-page assessment intake, and I was blown away by it because I loved answering those questions, because these are the things that mattered. How do I sleep? How do I digest food? What is my stress like? I mean, these things I think Western medicine can learn from, because we're only looking at body systems, like what's your pain on a number scale today? And I think the person is way bigger than that in terms of their recovery, their injury, and them getting better and getting well. So I think it's a great time for acupuncture.
Yeah, I think it's a really fascinating time, interesting time, based on sort of a couple of different things. Name the research and the science that's being done. Some of even the history and the archaeology that's sort of kind of happening is constantly sort of reinterpreting what this practice is about, where it's come from, how we interpret those things is another area of research that I think is really interesting. And then the concept of stress and the concept of pain and these things are, unfortunately, seem to be growing. I don't want to say epidemics, but growing problems that interfere with other aspects of care. And so the partnership between sort of the traditional medical community and something like acupuncture, I think, is is a partnership that should be cherished and should be explored and respected, because when we work together, that's when magic can happen, for sure. So certainly a very interesting time to be in the field. And had you told me 5 years ago I would have been an acupuncturist, I would have said you're crazy. But now that I am, I'm incredibly happy that I decided to do this.
That's great, and you raise a great point, the partnership and collaboration between healthcare professions, creating healthcare teams, and helping every athlete to create that good healthcare team. That's a very bright future for everybody.
Yeah.
So this has been an incredible discussion. I want to thank you guys, Jackie, Lee, and Zach, for joining me here today. A special thanks for Will for having us on the show. And thank you to the viewers. We hope you can take away from this ideas for how acupuncture can benefit your performance, recovery, and overall health. Thank you.
The last time you were here at Gotta Run with Will turned out to be a very historic moment for the Gotta Run TV show, for at least two reasons. If you recall, it was the last show that we did in the old studio using standard definition. Today we're shooting in high definition, and we have ever since that day 5 years ago. Also, you introduced our audience to the Run Anyway marathon.
Yes.
And as you can see, I'm wearing the Run Anyway marathon. So in essence,
Great choice.
Since that day, you have become the godmother of the Gotta Run TV show.
Feel pretty special about that.
But also at that time, we were talking about your being a licensed massage therapist.
Yes.
I think you just got your certification from the Swedish Institute.
Yes.
And so what's new since then?
Now I'm about to graduate from acupuncture school. I'll be receiving my master's degree and going to integrate acupuncture with my current massage practice. And I have a bunch of projects on the way. That's how we also reconnected, because I was asking you about video making and all things lighting. And it's been a pretty fun 5 years. I've definitely kept up with running. I'm now doing martial arts, a lot of Muay Thai at the Henzo Gracie Academy. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun adventures, learning, and going to start a new chapter in about a month. So I'm very excited about that.
The new chapter being acupuncture?
Yes.
Great. Something significant happened in the world of acupuncture. Tell us about that.
Sure. So last year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics recognized acupuncture as a profession. Before that, acupuncture was considered a modality under healthcare professions. But now, starting in 2018, actually, we're going to be able to act as our own healthcare profession. And it's a very exciting time, because I joined a profession that is not only growing in popularity, but we're also seeing that there's a lot of promise behind collaboration with other healthcare professionals when working on things such as pain management. In terms of how the healthcare system works today, it's going to be a very cool picture to join to help and see how we can go and work alongside other healthcare professions.
So when you go to school for that, how long a program is that?
It's a 3 to 4 year program when you want to get your master's degree. And then if you choose to pursue your doctorate, you have that option as well.
Who knew it's that significant time commitment?
Exactly. And not many people know that we even go to school for studying acupuncture. So I'm hoping to share more about it over time and clear up any misunderstandings about it.
Okay, well, everybody knows it's about placing needles in strategic places.
Yes.
And I guess we all put needles in our dolls. I guess we see those voodoo movies, putting the curse into it. Is there anything to that?
We are most definitely not like those voodoo people, as you described. It's interesting because right now I'm starting, or I have started, a project called AcuTalks, and it's a way to share more insights about acupuncture and what is actually going on. So a common question I usually get from people is, wait, I don't really want to be stuck with a needle. Like, is it the same as what they do when they give you an injection? And there is a huge difference between our needles and the hypodermic needles that they use in hospitals, which of course is our fear of getting a shot. Our needles are hair thin. They're very flexible. They're not designed. They're not designed to cut the skin. They're actually spreading the skin, and it's pretty much a material that will not cause pain. And if there is any questions, for how the needles work and why it's working, that's why I created AccuTalks as well, to just kind of share more information about it.
Do you have any videos up on AccuTalk now?
Yes, which is why we reconnected, because I am just starting on this whole new project, which I never thought in a million years I would get into, to just create videos and show people the potential of this medicine. And it's a very old medicine, and it's becoming more mainstream now. It's a complete medical system, and there's so much more to our medicine than just the needles, which people don't really realize just yet. There's herbs, there's dietary advice, lifestyle. You've heard of things like Qigong, Tai Chi. So while in school, we're trained in all these different sections for this whole medical system.
That's why it takes 3 to 4 years. It
takes a while,
practicing
but it's a
needles.
lifelong learning process. So we're definitely on a course to just learn and absorb more for how big this is.
In my experience with acupuncture, I discovered 2 things. One, it works best on me when I go when the injury or when my problem is early on, not to wait 6 months or a year later. And the second thing, maybe it's different ways of doing acupuncture. My practitioner was from the old school, and he had a black box along with the needles, and he put electrical currents through them. Is that common in acupuncture to circulate electrical currents throughout the needles?
It is one technique that we're trained to use, and you're right, it's one style that you're experiencing, and what not many people know is that there's so many different styles of acupuncture out there. So for me, what I will be doing is actually using what you're describing. It's called e-stim, and it's a great way to stimulate the points that we're working on, and also to help bring down inflammation in the area and to help the muscles in that area feel better.
I'll never forget Dr. Ho. He was a very, very charming character, and but a little bit impatient. So he would start the electrical current, and he would tell me, "You feel anything?" I said, "No." "Anything?" "No." And then he got impatient, and then I hit the ceiling. So I've learned to say on the second try, "Yep, I feel it."
Yeah.
Well, Isang, any final thoughts?
I am just so happy to be back here, and I mentioned I'm starting to integrate acupuncture into my practice. I've rebranded. I'm now On Point Sports Care, so we're just excited to go and be back and sharing acupuncture, massage, physical therapy. It's going to be a very big year, and I'm just really excited to keep you updated and share my story.
Isang, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me here.
This has been a Gotta Run with Will moment.